Hey folks, Turbine guy coming back at you. And today, on a dreary day in Minnesota, I have a dreary story I want to tell and kind of outline why I think I need to make a decision to move on with my life. That's what I'm going to do. Now, the Libertarian National Convention is opening out in Reno tonight, tomorrow, for the weekend. They'll be doing a lot of conventions and bylaws and all that kind of stuff. And I was going to go there, and I was elected to be a representative from Minnesota. But unfortunately, people who elected me turned out not to be very honorable people. So I will get to there, but I want to start with a little bit of history. Now, y'all may know me. I'm the Turbine guy. I got 90, I don't know, 400 or 500 subs on my channel. I'm a renewable energy guy. I have trademarked something called the Green Pill, which is about common sense renewable energy. And I'm a freedom fighter and have been all my life. And I've been out in the field doing it. I challenge government at home all the time. I film them, record them. I publicize what they do. That's who the Turbine guy is. I've always been this way. And, back in the 80s, I voted for Anderson. And then I voted for Ross Perot twice. And I almost never went mainstream with any of my voting. I was always attracted to the alternate third party types. And that's just who I was. And, I think 98, when Jesse Ventura ran for governor in Minnesota and had his miraculous victory, I ran for city council in Orono, and I had my own miraculous victory. The current mayor chose two people to run against me, and I whooped their ass by like 500-600 votes. And I did it because I knew how to get elected. I knew how to knock on doors. I knew how to talk to people, and I knew how to explain to them what a common person is and that they can relate to me. So that's when, I got elected back then. Well, in about 2016, I was getting civic minded again. And I figured, you know what? I served before on the planning commission and city council in Orono. I was in the Navy. I'm an honorably discharged veteran. So I'm sitting there thinking, you know what? How else can I get back into this? I actually did Meals on Wheels for 18 years, 19 years. Brought my little service animal with me and all that. So, I've got a community, or a history of being in the community and a part of it, and wanting to help and grow my community, and to work to root out the corruption and other malfeasance that goes on. So things can be fair for all. I grew up in a not very fair type situation. So it's kind of ingrained in me that I have to try to make things fair. Well, like I said, 2016 or so, I was attracted to libertarians for what their values are. Okay, the middle of the road, the non-aggression, do unto others kind of principle, and the small government type of thing, which I've always been a huge advocate of. When I ran for city council and people would ask me, I'd say, well, I'd have to be some sort of conservative libertarian. Don't tax me too much and leave me alone. And that's always been my philosophy, and I've always tried to deliver that. Well, when I ran in 2016, I went to the Libertarians and I asked for their support at their executive committee, and they gave it to me for my district out here. I think it was 33A, Senate district. And I ran against a very well-known incumbent in a very Democrat state. And I was able, on my own, because the party didn't help me at all. In fact, they wanted me to help them get Gary Johnson votes. The party didn't help me at all. I got almost 7% of the vote as a libertarian. Now, I tell people like Larry Sharp that, and they stop what they're doing and talk to me. That is a tremendous amount to get. And, I was frustrated with the party at that point because I had no help. I knew I had a chance to do something, and with the vote total I got, I wish I could have gotten some help instead of them asking me to run around for Gary Johnson. Now, Johnson did get 3.5% in our state, so I almost doubled him. I was pretty happy with that. But then, I stayed away for a couple of years, but then my son kind of got me back into it. And he was getting interested in this and that politics, and he's attracted to libertarians. So it's like, yeah, what the heck? And we started volunteering at the state fair at the booth and doing all of that. And, the first year I came up with this tremendous idea where we made this sign that on one side, with a couple of jars of fake pot in it, and said cannabis drop-off station. And I can't tell you how many people that attracted to the station or to the booth, how many people we got to talk to. But there was someone a leader of the party who wasn't so happy with that. So he took it and took it all away, and it's gone. And I can't understand when we're bringing people in for something like legalizing marijuana in a state like Minnesota, why they would do that. So, that was frustrating. It was. But I still stayed connected. And then this past state fair, when I was talking to Chris Holbrook, the chair, he kind of jokingly asked me, do you want to run for governor? And we went back and forth a little bit talking about it, but I didn't really think much of it. Hard for me to plan that far ahead with my life. But over the winter, I started thinking about it, going, you know what? I think I do want to run for governor. I do think I can get some votes. We need over 5% in Minnesota. With all the disaffection going on, especially with the Democrats and Republicans, because Minnesota, the Republicans have been the weak-kneed sisters to the Church of the Poor or whatever. They bow over and bow over. There's no guts in the Republicans in Minnesota. So I'm seeing a clear opportunity for our party to get 5% and get to major party status. And I was up against another person, Chris Dock, who had gotten 2% as an auditor and had run for governor before. And, Chris and I are different in that he always did his libertarianism through the party and tried to grow that and grow the movement, while I'm out in the community doing my libertarianism. I'm fighting the system. I'm recording people. I'm pointing stuff out. I'm in court challenging laws. I'm going to jail for micro-wind. So those are the kinds of things I would do, and he was different, that he was more the administrative guy. And when we got to the convention, I said, all I want is a free and fair vote. And one of the first things I said was, I'm not going to say anything bad about Chris Dock, because that's not what I'm here for. Well, there's another part to this story. And this is the part to the story that really, really frustrates me as a libertarian, as a free-minded person at heart. There's something called the Mises Caucus. And they're named after the Mises Institute, and they want to bring the Ron Paul stuff back to the Libertarian Party. And they want to squeeze out other things. Now, I joined this caucus because I do believe in a lot of things that they say. Okay? I don't believe you have to believe in everything someone else does to get along, and I don't believe that everybody together should all have to believe the same thing. But you find common ground, and you work on those common grounds. So I'd been warned by Adam Kokesh that the Mises wasn't all they were, or all they made themselves out to be. And I'm like, yeah, that's okay, but Adam, I'm the type of people who gives people a chance. And they're talking a good game, and I like what they're doing, and I just think, I'm going to give them a chance. And I've been involved in their, communications and all that. And I was at one point told, when I asked, am I Mises? Yeah, 100%. So I was in the caucus. I supported the caucus. Absolutely I did. Not only did I support the caucus, not only did I do that, but I voted, in support, kind of lockstep with the people they wanted to go out to Reno. I did vary a little bit, but I took their recommendations to heart, I guess you could say. And I ended up showing up at their pre-convention meeting, and I gave a little speech, 10-minute deal, whatever. They allowed me to talk. And one of the Mises members, I think Kuklins, was going to be the chair for Chris Dock. So I knew there was opposition within the Mises Caucus. I have no problem with that. May the best man win. Fair competition. Isn't that what I said earlier? So I gave my speech. I could see a lot of people agreeing with me. I could see a lot of nodding heads. And I'm like, okay, well, these people got to know me. And, Chris Dock didn't show up, so I felt good about that. Well, we got along to the state convention this year, and things were going pretty well. But I think there was an issue with the planning because they had all the nominations the day later. Now, mind you, there were no other nominations for statewide office. No one was standing up to run for any statewide offices. It was just us, Chris and I, going for governor. So, as we're doing it on the Friday night before, this gentleman calls Chiptang and comes up to me and says, I'm thinking of arguing NOTA tomorrow. I'm going, well, why would you do that? So you've got two very qualified candidates. You got a chance to get major party status. Why would you want to argue none of the above? And he went into this deal about this and that. It was all strategic, and I was shaking my head looking at him going, I can't believe you'd really do that. He was in Mises too, and he was asking for my support to be a delegate out in Reno. So, next day comes along, it comes time for the governor endorsement election. And what happens? I get up and have my say, and I get around to questions. Chris gets up and has his say, he has a round of questions. And then this Chiptang gets up, and he argues for NOTA. Now, this is wrong in two reasons for me, because you never want to get rid of a qualified candidate in a party like the Libertarians, where it's really hard to find people that even want to run, especially if they're qualified. Especially if they're qualified. So, he gets up there and he argues that. And I'm just kind of shaking my head. Well, unbeknownst to me, there were people in the crowd who were also Mises messaging back and forth together that they thought NOTA was a good idea. Now, here's this group asking for my support, and yet they're going behind my back, not to maybe vote for the other candidate, but to subvert both candidates in the only statewide thing we're looking for. So, the election comes along, and Chris Dock got more votes than me. And NOTA got less than me, so NOTA came in last, but everybody still lost. Everybody lost. I lost, Chris Dock lost, and the Libertarian Party lost. Do you know why? Because Chris and I were willing to run together, governor, lieutenant governor. We would have complemented each other well. We were willing to do that. But we weren't allowed the opportunity. And then all of a sudden, the chair of the Libertarian Party resigns, Chris Holbrook. And that was really frustrating to watch, because he stood up and said, the only reason I hung out here, the only reason was specifically to help the next governor candidate. Boom. He's gone. So who gets appointed to the chair? Not right away. Who took over that day was Kuklins, and he was later appointed to the chair by the executive committee that the Mises people elected that day, who were all asking for my support so they could get elected. And there was a group of them within the Mises that played this game. And, one of them was even heard saying, and it's actually recorded on tape, that he really doesn't want a governor candidate for the Libertarians because he wanted the Republican to win. So you've got this right in the party there. Just crazy. There's a little more nefariousness that went on with that, to say the least. Now, Chip tried to make up for his mistake a little bit afterwards and tried to find a way out of it. He couldn't. I've heard this argument that, the whole problem at the convention was the bylaws. No, that's not true at all. That's not true at all. The problem at the convention was the timing was off. This wasn't held the day before, and the voting process was not accurately or adequately described to the people sitting there getting ready to vote. And then we ran out of time. And we're scrambling as we're getting kicked out of the building. And I heard the Republicans had that issue too. As we're getting kicked out of the building to try to salvage everything. And there was no time because it was at the end on Sunday. Imagine if we'd had any other offices to vote for, we probably wouldn't even gotten to governor. All right, so that's how that went, and I felt betrayed that way, but that's not why I'm leaving the party. That's not why I'm leaving the party. Why I'm leaving the party is because afterwards, the executive committee appointed Kuklins from assistant chair to chair, and then they elected people for all the statewide offices. Now, mind you, none of these people had the guts to stand up and run in front of everybody else. They waited until the Mises caucus was in so that they could get themselves appointed to run to these positions. I'm not going to say anything bad about them. Chiptang, and I really shake my head because I have this comment for, now, here's the candidates that were running. Now, on top of this, because of what Mises did, a lot of people scattered from the party. Chris Dock, he was going to stay here. He's gone to Arizona. There's another lady who is a libertarian and a council lady in Brooklyn, or in Burnsville, who said, you know what? I can't have this. I got to back away from it. And there's a bunch of other people who've backed away and left the party too since the convention. Like I said, the chair resigned. Bunch of them did. So who do they have running now? Who's running for governor? Charlie Kuklins, the guy who was going to be the campaign manager for Chris Dock. He's in the Mises party. He got appointed chair, and now he's running for governor. Who's running for Secretary of State? Chiptang, the guy who got up there and argued, get this, he argued that we shouldn't have statewide candidates. We should not have statewide candidates. Several reasons. One is that it takes too much time and energy. We just don't have that. You got to get so many signatures. And top of that, he said the media doesn't like us. And that makes it really hard. I'm sitting there listening to this guy, and I'm going, don't you know who I am? I'm the Turbine guy. I get in the news all the time. I've been in the news out here for a boat they had sitting in a parking lot all winter. Got on the news several times. Got in the newspaper the other day for speaking out about public comments at city council. I'm in the news all the damn time because I am fighting. And we're going to be in the news again really, really soon, because we're about ready to have a federal appeals court rule in our favor as we go after a malicious prosecution, abuse of process, violation of First Amendment right to free speech lawsuit against the city of Orono. So we're going to be in the news. And I'm thinking, this is what I do. While I'm in the news, I can bring the Libertarian Party with me. And then people can see the Libertarian Party. And you've got this guy up here arguing that, well, the media doesn't like us. They like me. Just search Turbine guy. Search Nygaard. Search Orono. Nygaard Orono. Turbine Orono. Whatever. You'll have page after page after page. Go in the images. There's tons of images because I'm in the news a lot. I've been in the UK Daily Mail. I've been in the Russian Times. I've had other countries rewrite my story in their language. But when I was jailed for having my micro wind turbine, actually, the buried chunk of concrete that was useless, that's why I was jailed. So I couldn't believe he was saying that. I could kind of understand the argument of, well, it does take a lot of energy for statewide candidates. Well, I'm telling you, with the popularity I've developed around here in this community, I could get my own damn 2,000 signatures. It would have been great to have the Libertarians help and make it 4,000 to 6,000 or whatever. But if I was going to run for governor or lieutenant governor, trust me, there would have been signatures galore. That would not have been an issue. So here you've got this guy stating that too much energy, too much time, no media, but he's running for Secretary of State now. He himself is running for a statewide office that he said we shouldn't be running any. And listen to this comment, okay? Chip is highly committed to giving Minnesotans more choices than just Coke and Pepsi when casting votes for Congress, U.S. Senate, governor, and state, House, and Senate seats. If he's more than for that, then why the hell did he subvert it? Unless there was an agenda going on. Unless there was agenda. And to me, the agenda was within Mises that we're going to have our own candidates. And that's what we're going to do. Remember, this is the part, or the caucus, that asked for my support to get themselves elected to positions, but have played this game. So talk about a betrayal. You know, I have a hard time dealing with dishonorable people, which is why I'm the way I am calling out government. And unfortunately, with the fiasco that has happened in Minnesota, and you know, you really look at the National Libertarian Party as they're gathering now out in Reno, there's a lot of chaos going on there too. Mises is trying to take over there. There's a big struggle. And I get the, yeah, let's get our philosophy more into a party. But when you do what you did in the state of Minnesota this year with your ideals, to the Turbine guy, you are not being very libertarian. You're being subversive. But hey, that's just my opinion. Just my opinion. I know I've been rambling on about this and taking some time, but this has been a really hard choice and decision to make. You know, it was a party I picked out that had the values that I wanted to exemplify to other people. And I didn't necessarily think that I was going to win any big positions, but I knew we had the chance to do something. But now the Libertarian Party's being taken over by people who are just as ruthless as people in other parties. They subverted us maybe to get libertarian votes to the Republican Party this year. They've subverted us, it appears, to get their own candidates in positions. And they'll ask for your support, but they aren't going to give it to you without even telling you. I don't know, folks. Quite frustrating. So the Turbine guy hereby and officially disavows myself from the Libertarian Party, not the people. There's a lot of good people in the party. And there's a lot of people that mean well. I just think that they're in a misguided place right now. And I don't know if they can really recover to me what the Libertarian Party is about. I really don't. And I'll tell you what. Supposedly, Dave Smith is the leader of this Libertarian Party, or this Mises Caucus. Supposedly he is. I will challenge Dave Smith to have a small debate or talk about this, have me on his show, and we can maybe explore some of the problems with the movement that he's pushing. And you know what? Maybe he can make it better. Maybe he can convince me it's worth coming back. I don't know. I just don't know. But I hereby challenge Dave Smith. The Turbine guy wants to talk to you. You know how to get a hold of me. I'm here in Minnesota, busting a nut, trying to protect the people of my community. Turbine guy, signing off.